Hi, my name is Jeannie, and this is my podcast, Bisaya in America. So today I'm going to be discussing Filipinos and food. Filipinos are the original foodies. So I've been living in America for more than 5 years now, less than 10 years. So between 5 and less than 10 years. Anyway, I noticed that Americans have a really different relationship with food, and as a Filipino, I just can't understand it. Filipinos are the original foodies. We don't have diet restrictions because here I have so many American friends, and they're like, oh, I can't eat that, I can't eat this, I can't eat that. And I'm like, oh, okay. In the Philippines, most Filipinos, at least like the normal Filipinos that I know, we don't have diet restrictions. We eat anything and we eat everything. Just to point out, we eat all body parts of chicken, pork, and beef. So beef, we have the oxtail. Beef, we have the lengua or the tongue. And I think, we eat all parts. And chicken, we eat the head. We call it the helmet. Liver. Lungs, the blood, even in a pork as well. And we eat the tail. We call it there's a barbecue in many parts of the Philippines where we eat the tail of the chicken and turn it into yummy barbecue. I think it's called isol in Tagalog. I could be wrong, but I don't eat it a lot, but it's kind of good. And we eat in the pork, parts of the pork, we eat the face. It's called sisig. We eat the blood. It's called dinuguan. We eat the pork feet. We call it crispy pada because we fry it. So Filipinos do not waste anything. We don't have diet restrictions. And I come from the island of Cebu, so we eat a lot of seafood because, I noticed some Americans, or a lot of Americans, they don't really like seafood unless they're from the coast. They don't like fish for some reason, unless people that love fishing, but I don't have any diet restrictions. I eat anything, including seafood, and it's my favorite because I grew up in an island of Cebu. We had jumping shrimp. What I mean by that is that the shrimp is so fresh that it's still jumping. You eat it. You cook it, but it's still fresh and alive. That's the best way to eat it. It's still jumping. And my mom, she used to want to order really live seafood, like the grouper fish. We call it grouper. We call it lapu-lapu for some reason. It's named after a hero in Cebu. So yeah, and she used to buy it fresh, like it was still alive before we cooked it. And for the it tastes different, and it tastes yummier, and it's sweeter, and it's fresher, and it's healthier. And that's just how I grew up. And basically, my philosophy, because I'm Filipino, is that if it ain't moving, we can eat it. We'll try to eat it. And talking about body parts, I haven't tried this myself, but I have a few friends back in Cebu and former co-workers that they actually eat the brain of the I don't know if it's pork. I think it's pork. Brain of the pig. I don't know if it's healthy, but they say it's good. So I guess. So literally we eat everything. There's no diet restrictions. And Filipinos, we are the original foodies because we don't waste food. We literally don't. I grew up with my grandmother. She said, you gotta finish it. You gotta, there should not be a single, maybe like a grain of rice. You have to eat it. Eat everything on your plate, except the bones, of course. But she was like that, and I grew up like that. We don't waste food. And I noticed that when I started living in America, I started I didn't eat everything off my plate. I would like maybe leave some, and then I'm like, oh, I'm done. Yeah, in the Philippines, that's a no-no. You have to eat everything. And another thing I noticed about Americans and my American friends is that they won't eat something if it has a weird texture. And because I'm like, I'm down for anything, I'm a Filipino. I have an iron stomach. I can eat anything, everything. Feed me. But Americans, like, they're really big on texture. And I never really thought about it. I'm like, texture? We're big on flavor. Spongy texture. I've tried that. If I've eaten something that's spongy, maybe pureed or anything soft, tough, any texture, we can take it. Because that's what Filipinos do. We don't care about the texture. We care about the flavor. So, but apparently, and I have met like a lot of my American friends. They're always like, "Oh, I don't think I should try that because I don't like the texture. What's the texture like?" I'm like, "Texture? What is that?" Because I grew up with all different textures. Oxtail has a gelatinous texture, I guess. I didn't even really notice. We have crunchy texture. We have, I don't know, soupy texture. I don't know, soft pudding-like texture. Jello, slimy. So slimy texture. I love seafood. And it has a slimy texture, apparently. And I love seaweed as well. And okra. So one of my favorites is it's like sea grapes. I love sea grapes. We call it locally as lato. And that's my favorite with vinegar and salt. And it has a slimy texture, and I love it, and gooey texture. Yeah, I don't care about the texture. I care about the taste. I'm Filipino. So another thing that Filipinos are the original foodies because we eat 5 times a day. We are like the hobbits of the East. I always tell people, Filipinos are the hobbits of the East. We eat 5 times a day. We eat breakfast. So we eat like a snack between breakfast and lunch. So I guess they call it brunch, but we eat lunch as well. And between lunch and dinner, we also eat merienda or a snack. We call it merienda. And sometimes even after that, we eat like a midnight snack or whatever. It's not even midnight yet, and we start eating and snacking. So we probably eat 5 to 6 times a day. That's why in America, I'm always hungry because I barely eat 5 times a day or 6 times a day. So I noticed though, after 3 o'clock, I turn into a snack monster because that's time for merienda in the Philippines. That's where we eat some snacks, desserts, or they call it desserts, but it's actually like a snack, merienda. I don't have a term for it, but it's called merienda. And it's like, we can eat sweet, savory, whatever. It has to be between 3 to 6, and that's considered merienda. And we can eat something that looks like dinner for some, but it's not dinner. And then we eat dinner. So Filipinos, we eat rice with everything. I swear, like it's rice with spaghetti, rice with pasta, rice with whatever. That's why I'm always hungry here because I barely get to eat rice. I mean, there was a time where I was like, I don't know what's going on. I don't feel filled up. I don't feel satisfied. It's because there was a time, like a long time, that I just like didn't eat rice. And I'm like, there's something missing in my food. And I think that's rice. So Filipinos, we eat rice with everything. So we even eat rice with our spaghetti, which is my favorite, by the way. Filipino spaghetti, there's nothing like it. And eat it with rice. It's amazing. So here, the Mexican Americans eat rice and beans, I guess. So that's, I think, the closest culturally is the Mexicans, Latinos, because we were, colonized by the Spaniards. I think they gave us like that rice. So that rice thing is what literally like glues us together, our common history, of course, aside from being colonized by the Spanish people. Yeah. And I noticed that Filipinos, we are like hardcore foodies, literally. Because like I noticed here, it's like, oh, it's 30 minutes away. I'm not going to travel that far. That's what a lot of people would say. Like 30 minutes is too far to travel for food. But as a foodie, you will travel hours for food. And I am a certified foodie. I will travel hours for food, literally. And Filipinos travel. They will literally travel to another part of town for food. And they will drive an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours away, and the next town over, next island over, just to eat. And we have what we call fiesta or a feast, and usually it's a particular, it's in there's a celebration, it's tied in with a saint, and then people eat a lot. And when there's a fiesta, Filipinos will go. Doesn't matter if you have to drive, ride a boat, or ride a horse or something. We will be there because like Filipinos love food so much. And we will literally travel for food. That is our culture. So, and I'm the same. Here, so lucky. I met like a friend. We met at work, and then I realized I'm so lucky that she's also a hardcore foodie. Like she literally will travel for food, and I think we drove 2 hours just to get barbecue. I'm like, we're the same. We are the same, and she's a certified foodie as well. And I think this month we will travel 3.5 hours. I think 3 or close to 3 hours to get food, to eat food, and we're the same. I'm the same. I will fly for good food, That's me. And also, certified foodie plus Filipino equals foodie, Foodie times 1,000, that's me. So I noticed here in America that people are not so adventurous when it comes to food. Like they will not try. I have a lot of American friends. They're like, what is that? I'm not going to try that. That looks funny, and I'm like, what is that? I'll try that. Because I got invited to an Indian family, and then there were like three Filipinos there, like me, and then a mom and her kid. And they were like, this Indian family served us food that we have not tasted in our life and we have not encountered in our life, but put it on our plate, we will eat it. And I know there's the son, he loved food just like me, and then he said, I'm gonna eat it, like put it on my plate, I will eat it. And I was the same, we were the same. Even the mom was like, I'll eat it, but I think she was on a diet, but so she ate sparingly. But the son, like, he loved food. He said, taste is different, it's different different texture, but it's like, yeah, I'm game. And he ate it and he loved it, and I'm the same, because it's so boring to eat the same kind of food day in, day out, like steak and potatoes, barbecue, whatever, brisket, rice and beans, tacos. It's the same. I want variety, and I'm willing to try other cuisines, literally. And I have tried Middle Eastern cuisine, African cuisine, Jamaican. I love me some jerk chicken. And then, of course, I'm well versed in other Asian cultures as well. Korean, Thai, Vietnamese. I have not tried other. I think I've tried Singaporean, and but I'm not well versed in other parts of Asia, like Malaysian, Indonesian food. But I will try that because I'm sure it's tasty. Because I'm a foodie and I'm Filipino. So most Americans are not very adventurous with their food. They don't want to try other food, and but I'm like, I'll eat it, you know. And they're not. There's some that love raw fish. Being from the island, we eat raw fish. It's like part of our staple. We love it. I love it. You know, I love seafood. But here, living in Texas, there's like not a lot of people that are into like hardcore seafood, you know, like, but they do love shrimp though, and other types of fish. But I'm different. I love like, give me the more exotic one, like squid. I noticed not a lot of people here eat squid, and cuttlefish, and octopus. They're like, ooh, yeah, what is that? It has tentacles. I'm not gonna eat that. But being Filipino, I eat it. I eat anything that doesn't move, and I'm willing to try exotic food at least once, you know, because we never know, that could be our next new favorite. So I'm open to, like, I love Indian food now. I'm like, ooh, that's yummy, and it's tasty, it's spicy, I love it. So I'm a foodie through and through. Yeah, I'll give Anthony Bourdain a run for his money. Yeah, but so sadly, like, he has passed away, and other people have taken the mantle. Though there's more people that are exploring, you know, other parts of the world just to eat. That would be my dream job. But I have a lot of dream jobs, of course. But that would be my dream job. So anyway, if you are Filipino, you're listening to this, what is your favorite food? Like, that's not the Filipino food though, but what is your favorite new cuisine, and have you tried other cuisines? I'm sure you have. And if you just want to comment about this episode, email me at homeofgenie@gmail.com, homeofgenie@gmail.com. I'm also an author. I'm on Amazon, and if you love romantic comedies, do check it out. Check it out on my website, homeofgenie@gmail.com, homeofgenie.com. I'll put the link on the show notes before. So I've published 6 books so far, and I'm still continuing working on 2 books right now, fiction and nonfiction. Do check it out. And I might, in the future, I don't have the plot yet, but I'm very sure I'm gonna feature Philippines in some way, some capacity. I'm gonna write about it, and I'm gonna write about Filipino characters. So it's a little fuzzy yet because I don't have the plot, but I know I'm gonna write about the Philippines, you know, for sure. And yeah, and thank you very much for listening to this podcast. And I hope you check out my other episodes too. Thank you.